I think I needed to take a little bit of a break because the tears just would not
I
stop.
just
Want to give a little conclusion of what I'm trying to say. And what I'm trying to say is I believe the legacy of love that Glenn left behind should inspire all of us to love better, to love more like Christ. I really feel like he exemplified the love of Christ and the grace he gave to everyone. And me and the cousins were reminiscing. We each have stories of, we come from a family that can be challenging. There's a lot of pastors in our family. We are a church family. And church, if you are from a church family, there are just certain things you do or don't do. And when you break those expectations, um, it's easy to feel like you're upsetting the family. Um, but Glenn had this really lovely way of making sure he did not do that to you. That it was very clear that Glenn was going to love you no matter who you are, what you've done, and that love he had made him live a very free life. One of his other brothers talked about there was a really unique style that Glenn played the guitar. And I used to tell him, your sound is very light. It's like he was playing, but his fingers like danced on the strings. Instead of just plucking them, they danced. And you can hear his sound a lot. And it just makes you feel happy and joyful. And that was him. He was always smiling, always laughing, always teasing, and just always ready to have a good time in the Lord and always ready to make you feel good and joyful and light. And he was free, at least what I knew of him. He seemed to be a very free man, but when I hear the testimonies of how he loved people, I imagine he was free because he loved people. I feel like when you don't love well, and I'm saying this to myself, when you don't love as Christ loves us, you are in bondage to something, a memory, a past hurt, or something. And that is so me many times. That is me. And hearing his stories from all the different people who knew him, I realized that he lived free because he loved. And I want to live like that. Another reason why I want to do that is because Glenn left us suddenly. And most of us may die of old age or of illness. You'll have time to say, "Ooh, my time is getting short. Let me get my stuff together." But Glenn didn't have that. To the natural eye, it seems like it was a bit of a curse that, oh, he had so much going for him. He was doing so much work for the Lord. He was living this beautiful life. He had this wonderful wife. He had just dropped his son off at Morehouse a couple weeks before he passed. His daughter just graduated from Xavier. He had just had a grandson from his firstborn that he was enjoying, and he was doing so much. He had just redone the church. He was organizing events to bring diverse people together, diverse in faith and ethnicity. He was doing a lot of work that seemed like he was going to live a life, I mean, just live forever, doing this amazing work of love and grace and enjoying his wife, who he's known since he was a little boy. And now their house was almost an empty nest. And so now they were looking forward to living a life of love and ministry together, traveling or whatever. And Lord, you take him like this. To me, it doesn't make sense. To me, it seems unfair. But then there's this other part of me where I talked earlier in the video that I didn't get a chance to grieve like everyone else. But there is one thing I do feel grateful for in the midst of my wishing I could have been with my cousins and other family members. And oh, I'm so glad I stopped crying so I can get through these thoughts. And that is that I have no memory of Glenn dying, like none. Like to me, he's still alive. I know he's gone, right? I've seen the video. I know of the funeral. I've seen the video of the funeral. I know he's gone. I've talked to my cousins who were there. I know he's gone, but my only memory of him is being alive. That's it. The only memory I have of him is like a few days before he died, us exchanging some message on Facebook. I think I was celebrating when his son went to Morehouse, and I reposted it, and I was just so proud of him. And that's my memory. My memory is of him doing this tradition that Morehouse does when freshmen get dropped off and seeing him look so proud. That's it. I feel like maybe that's a gift to not have a memory of his death. No memory of him dying of cancer with tubes all over him, or no memory of some tragedy like that, or unalived. No memory of some horrible passing where he suffered or got to the point where he couldn't play his guitar. I only have memories of his life and how he loved. That's all I know. And so that helps me because I am not plagued by memories of him dying or memories of, oh, I wonder if he felt pain when this, that, or the other happened. Or we know that he was alone when God took him for that brief moment. He was at a conference, so he wasn't going to be alone long, of course. But in that moment, God took him. And, I almost have a story or a myth or a fairy tale around his passing that makes him even larger than life. The fact that he lived so beautifully that while he is at a pastor's conference or a bishop's conference, it almost seems like God just stepped down, and like God escorted Moses into glory or Enoch into glory, these great men of God, that God escorted Glenn to glory because he was just that special to him. And the lesson that God wants me to learn from the life he lived, because I don't know when God will take me, is, Lord, whenever I meet you, may I be free like Glenn. May I be taken as I am loving. And when I meet you, may my heart have been free of all bitterness, and may I only have forgiveness, and may people tell me that they have memories of me loving, and that's the only testimonies given at my homegoing.